Now, having worked with you, I know you do a lot of research before you write. So I'm going to ask you, what was the most interesting thing you learned in writing this book?
I wasn't sure when I wrote this book whether I could make the point that humans are different and get away with it. Because there are a lot of people, it's one of the big arguments these days. Like, you have people who are spiritually based on one side, and then you have the science people on the other, and they're always arguing with each other. This is one of the things it's one of the things that got me writing the book, actually, because if you ask the question in this day and age, will my dog go to heaven? And you go to your pastor, your pastor will say probably, no, because the Bible says there are no animals in heaven. If you go to somebody who is more scientifically minded, the other real carrier of authority in our culture are scientists. And a scientist will most likely just say, well, no. And as a matter of fact, you aren't either, because you're just a blob of protoplasm and you're going to be in the ground and that's the end of it. So nobody will give you the real answer, what I think is the right answer. But in terms of the argument between people who gravitate more to the scientific answers about life and the people who gravitate more to the spiritual answers about life, it's hard to talk about how humans are truly unique and separate without getting people uncomfortable. That doesn't appeal to a lot of people. You know, if you read the science section of the New York Times, the science section of the New York Times talks about human beings like we're fancy animals. And anybody who thinks that human beings are more than just fancy animals, who are evolutionarily, and who ended up the way we are, you know, through the course of evolution, if you talk about human beings as being anything other than that, well, you know, you're crazy. You know, you're not supposed to think that way. And I guess the most surprising thing I found out, or just the most surprising thing I discovered, was it really is possible to talk about the specialness of human beings without separating them from the rest of creation. And in fact, if you understand the uniqueness and what's different about human beings in a really profound way, it doesn't separate us from the rest of creation, but it actually unites us with the rest of creation more. Through our specialness, we don't shut ourselves away. We, in fact, rejoin the creation that we belonged with from the beginning.